Hello everyone. Today let's look at the important topic in system design, SQL versus NoSQL. Before we compare both, let's first understand what SQL and NoSQL means. In SQL, data is stored in tables called relational tables, such as this employee info table and this employee shifts table here. Examples of well-known SQL databases are MySQL and PostgreSQL. NoSQL stands for non-SQL. NoSQL databases are databases that store data in format other than relational tables. It could be lookup stores like this, or even a graph network like this employee connection network here. Typically, there are four types of NoSQL databases. First, we have these key value stores, which are the simplest ones. Every item in this data, in this kind of a database, is stored as an attribute name or a key together with its value. Examples of such data stores are Rack and Redis. Then we have this wide column stores. Here, data is stored together as a column instead of a row and are optimized for queries for large data sets. Most popular kinds of such data stores are Cassandra and HBase. Now we have document databases. Here, a pair of a key and a complex data structure called a document make up the data store. So, documents can contain many different key value pairs or key array pairs or even nested documents. And example of one famous such document data store is MongoDB. Then we have the graph database, and these are typically database used to store network informations such as social connections in Facebook. And examples of such kind of databases are Neo4j and Hypergraph DB. So now that we know what SQL and NoSQL are, there are five main reasons to consider when trying to figure out which kind of database to use, namely joins, size, maturity, write heaviness, and asset requirement. Let's look into each one of them. So, NoSQL database are inefficient for joins. So, for example, we have a query here. This is a SQL query for joining the employee info table and this employee shifts table to get some information based on some condition. So, for a NoSQL database, such kind of a joining query would be very difficult. Hence, SQL database are preferred in cases where you need to save these tables separately and join information later on. So coming to next factor, that is the size. If size of data is so small that it fits into a single machine's main memory, SQL is a clear winner. SQL on a single machine has next to zero maintenance overhead and has great performance with the right index built in. However, if that's not the case, a SQL solution will have a sharding overhead. So, sharding is a process of distributing the data over multiple servers, and I'd be discussing about this topic detail in one of my coming videos. So most NoSQL solution, however, are built with the assumption that the data does not fit on a single memory and hence have sharding inbuilt by design. So now let's look into the next topic, that is maturity. So uh, the SQL is a more mature technology and an established one and has a widely accepted standard. Hence, it's used in restricted sectors like medicine or finance. So, the next topic is the write heaviness. So, NoSQL databases have about an order of magnitude or even better and faster writes because of logs being incorporated into their design. hence are preferred in write heavy designs. So last but not the least, we have the ACID requirement. ACID properties are traditional requirements for a database transaction. In short, what it means is a transaction should be atomic, that is, either the entire transaction should succeed or it fails, and it should not be anything in between. It should also be consistent, meaning that the transaction should not lead to database going into an invalid state. For example, this could mean that replicates of a same data is not having the same information. So it should also have isolation, that is, one transaction should be completely unaware of another and should take place independently. Transaction should also be durable and should not do any irreversible damage to the database. So SQL have these ACID properties and they strictly adhere to them, and most NoSQL databases does not. This is one of the reasons SQL is generally preferred for metadata storage most of the time, as it asks for a strict ACID requirement. Oracle Berkeley DB, MongoDB, and Apache Cloud DB are NoSQL databases that closely support ACID properties. So that concludes the main factors to consider when making the important choice of choosing SQL or NoSQL for your data storage. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you on the next one.